Dragons Live, presented by Form Communications.
Hello everyone, I'm John Webby Webking and welcome to the Dragons Live Signing Day Special. Today is a culmination of a lot of communication and the celebration of officially welcoming the newest members to the Dragons family. Two sports have the spotlight today as they're the only ones that can sign starting early this morning, and that's Dragons football and soccer. We'll start our show tonight with soccer as I say hello and welcome to MSUM head soccer coach Christy Kopitz. Coach, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Let's start with last year and recap the season for us a little bit and tell us a little bit about the holes that were in this recruiting class that you were trying to fill.
Last season was, it really felt kind of bittersweet because we took a lot of strides forward. We actually lost 11 games by only 1 goal, and last year we had greater margins and lost by significantly more than that, and we had 6 overtime games, which shows that we're really close but couldn't quite get past that hurdle. And you know, the team really improved from my first year here, but we just couldn't take that next step to finishing off games and scoring goals. So that's kind of what we were looking to fill. Also lost 2 goalkeepers that were seniors this year, so looking for Kennedy Rogers, our current goalkeeper on roster, to really fill that role. She played behind 2, excellent keepers in Corey and Reagan, so I'm looking forward to getting to see what she can do this spring and then next fall.
And what were some of the positional needs that you were looking for with this recruiting class?
Other than the goalkeeper, I think really just looking for kind of solidity at every position, because we had a really core group, and it's really nice to be able to come in off the bench with a lot of really strong players, and we're returning 7 starters, which is pretty amazing. So I think, with what we're working on this spring plus what we did last fall, I think that this group will really complement the current players that we have and fill hopefully some of those attacking needs. I do have some attackers and some speed and some height in this class, so really kind of looking for a well-rounded class.
Well, we're looking forward to meeting all of them. So let's get right into the names that we're going to talk about today, starting with Brandon, South Dakota native Chloe Askdahl.
Yeah, Chloe, I got incredibly lucky with. She reached out to me, and I had a really hard time trying to fit seeing her in my schedule. And then when I went to see her, which was at regionals, which is a really major event for soccer coaches, she was kind of a monster. She's really fast, she's really athletic, she's very aggressive. She'll play in a wide attacking role for us, I would imagine. And yeah, she just was kind of, I was like, wow, I wish I'd seen her sooner, but she decided to come here anyway, so that was fantastic.
And from Kent, Washington, from Kent Lake High School, Jennifer Barnes.
Jennifer has family in this area, and I was quite surprised. I saw her almost a year ago now out in Seattle, but she has family in the Crookston area, so she's kind of looking to come Midwest. She plays for an incredibly high-level club, and again was sort of surprised that she would be interested in coming all the way out to Minnesota, but for some reason there's a Washington connection here with Minnesota. I have 4 now players from that area. She's going to be incredibly versatile. She plays well beyond her age. She's got great vision, very technical. I think she'll probably wind up in the midfield. So I'm really excited about the depth that she can bring in that position.
Let's talk about Peyton Bell.
Peyton's from Canada, which I've been trying to get a Canadian here since I got the job because I grew up in Canada, so it kind of hits home for me. Plus, then maybe she can bring me some Tim Hortons donuts when she comes down.
Bring me some too. Double that order.
Yeah, she's very fast. I'm looking forward to being able to use her speed. I think she's going to be a wide player, either a wide defender or a wide forward. I think she really has above average pace, and she's very good off the dribble with her right foot specifically.
From Illinois, we have Autumn Hollowell.
Autumn, I have been watching for a really long time now. When I was working in Illinois prior to this job, I saw her play many times. She plays for arguably one of the best club teams out of Illinois, and that's a really great area of soccer in this country. She can score goals. She has a nose for the goal. She has composure in front of goal. She got the Golden Boot Award, you know, a couple times. I just think that she's going to really help to fill that void of goals for us. She actually also, she was on her visit and then she left to talk to her parents and then came back and committed on the spot. So that was a really cool moment because that doesn't really happen all that often for us.
It doesn't. That's got to be kind of rewarding.
Yeah, I was like, didn't know how to
react.
react. I was like, ah, you know, sort of really uncomposed, but it was fun for me to get that moment with her.
Well, now we get to celebrate it publicly.
Yeah.
Midfielder from Fargo again, Olivia Johnson.
Olivia, who probably will be referred to as OJ. She's 5'10", so she's going to bring us a great deal of height. She really could find herself probably anywhere except for goalkeeper. She's incredibly versatile. She could play in the back, in the middle, really anywhere. She did score some goals for her high school team, so she may wind up there, and I will definitely be using her on set pieces with that height and her ability in the air.
Yeah, at 5'10", that's probably going to bring a lot of physicality to a lot of different positions.
Absolutely.
From Illinois again, Kaylee Parsons.
Yeah, she's sort of similar to Autumn. You know, I was watching her for a long time, and I got to coach her at a camp, and we established a really good connection. And then when I got this job, I was thrilled that she was interested in coming to play for me here. She's a teammate from the same club as Lauren Phillips, who was a freshman that started and played almost every single minute for us this year. I believe she'll wind up in the back playing as a defender. Very composed, very strong, technically athletic. Also very good in the air. I think she'll be up on set pieces as well, like Olivia.
And as you mentioned earlier, the goalkeeper position is a focus here, and we've got Kaylee Sedlacek to fill that hole.
Yeah, she's got some good height. She's around 5'10". She actually did a tryout here, and that's pretty difficult to come in and try out as a goalkeeper with the current players, and she did really, really well. She has really good hands and really good feet, which you might not think is really important for a keeper, but to be able to possess the ball and keep it, it almost gives you a numbers up advantage. So she's going to help us with that, and you know, it's going to be good competition between her and Kennedy next year.
And another local signee, Madison Erlob.
Madison got injured her junior year in high school, and so I didn't get to see a ton of her, but then I got to work with her at a camp, and she is an unbelievable leader. She has a really good way of connecting people and commanding a certain type of performance very, very quickly. So I'm really hoping that she's able to translate that as a freshman. She also can absolutely crush a ball as a forward. I mean, she can maybe break the post sometimes. She hits it really hard. So I'm hoping that she's also going to be able to help with that scoring gap and being able to maybe put some teams away with more goals next fall.
Well, as we see your coaching career here progress year to year, and we see the recruiting classes coming in, what stands out that makes this recruiting class unique?
I think each player, and I really tried to touch on it, has one special attribute that they do a little bit better than anyone else. And what that does for our current team is it takes maybe some holes that we have, and we're able to plug those in with the players that are currently here. And knowing their attributes, it just makes us a little bit more well-rounded. It means that maybe if we're playing a certain team, we might be able to utilize more of our speed. If we're playing a team that's you know, maybe stretched a little bit, we might be able to possess to then use the speed. It just gives us a few more tools to work with.
Stay with us here on the Dragons Live Signing Day Special. When we come back, we'll finish with our soccer talk with Coach Kopitz and dig into the 2018 spring schedule right after this.
Another day. And just like every day, it never seems to slow down. But you have a plan. Grab a cup, grab the paper, and grab a little time. Just for you. It's worth it. Don't get the paper? Just grab the phone. Call now and save up to 60% off the newsstand price. Journalists, bringing the story home every day.
Get fired up for the new Shop MSUMDragons.com, the official online store of Dragon Athletics, featuring top brands like Under Armour, Adidas, Columbia, and more. Get gear in women's, youth, toddler, and infant sizes, perfect for all of our Dragon fans. Support your favorite Dragon team with Select a Logo. Anything custom ships in 72 hours. And take your tailgating to the next level with items like bleacher chairs, tailgate tents, and lawn chairs. Get the gear and support your team with profits going directly to Dragon Athletics from Shop MSUMDragons.com.
Have you ever bought the wrong car? Over half of all used car purchases end in regret. Wrong car, wrong terms and conditions, unexpected problems. You know what I'm talking about. Why put yourself through it? At Valley Pre-Owned, you can't buy the wrong car. We guarantee it. That's right, we guarantee it. Stop down today, learn more about our free 730 guarantee. It'll make your next used car purchase the best car buying experience you've ever had. And you might even have some fun at Valley Pre-Owned.
All right, Coach, the final part of the soccer signing class for the signing day special. Let's look at the heat map as we see where all of these recruits have come from. And for soccer, it's one of the widest of all of our sports. So talk about where these individuals each came from and how we kind of got those connections and got them here as part of the Dragon family.
Well, obviously I kind of spoke about the Illinois collection a little bit, just having worked there and then having Lauren specifically from Illinois on our roster. I was able to pull on that to get some of those players. I think it's important to try to keep the best Fargo-Moorhead, West Fargo players here in Fargo if they are interested in staying here. So I'm really happy to have got those 3 players. And then the Washington connection, it seems bizarre, but from what I've heard, it seems like the people in Washington are a lot like Minnesotans, so they seem to like it out here. Other than that, it's about watching and establishing talent and then trying to form a connection with the players, and I think that's a strength of mine, so I'm always trying to utilize that when I'm recruiting.
Well, when you get started and see these individuals play together for the first time, I mean, we've got a spring schedule first and foremost. Talk a little bit about that schedule and what you see and what you plan to learn about your team.
Yeah, so my current team is working really hard. We're in the weight room a lot right now and we're doing conditioning, and the spring is really, to me, what determines how much better you're going to be in the fall, because there's a lot of growth and improvement individually then. And so in the spring I try to really challenge them with the schedule. So we'll play against NDSU and some other local teams in their 7-a-side. We'll do the alumni game, which is incredibly important to me to provide soccer opportunities for people past being actually current athletes. We're going to do a little kind of jamboree with some other NSIC teams, and then we're going to play 2 other Division I opponents. We'll play UND and then NDSU in an 11-a-side. So that will really push our girls to play against top-level competition, so that come the fall when we play some of the teams that are at the top, it won't feel hard because they've already experienced that level and a little bit more challenging.
Well, thank you, Coach, for your time today. We really appreciate it. Congratulations on getting a recruiting class in the books.
Thank you.
And we look forward to seeing them on the field.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Our athletics director, Doug Peters, is always fired up about something. Let's see what he's working on in this week's Doug's Desk.
Hey, this is Doug Peters, and I'm fired up. You're joining me for this segment of Doug's Desk, a behind-the-scenes look at our signing day special. And I thought, what more of a fitting place to do this than in my car? When you think about the hundreds of thousands of miles our coaches have covered searching for this recruiting class, to all the different states that they've gone, it's just fitting for the time that they've spent in a car. I think one of the things that our prospective student athletes and even our current student athletes don't really realize is how much time our coaches spend recruiting. It really starts oftentimes now in the freshman, sophomore years from an identification standpoint, and then out with the school visits, the home visits, the campus visits, you name it, we got all sorts of different visits going on. As we think about that and the time and energy that our coaches spend trying to find the right fit for our Dragon family, it is immense, and it's something I'm extremely proud about and something that I'm very happy they spend the time doing, because it really does create our department. We are in a people business. The people that we bring into our family, that's who makes our family up. I hope you're excited about our incoming student athletes as well as our current student athletes as we're getting ready for the NSIC Swimming and Diving Championships next week. Make sure you follow along that and all the signing day news on MSUMDragons.com.
Don't go anywhere. More Dragons Live Signing Day special coming up as head coach Steve Lockway jumps into the hot seat as we talk about the new faces of Dragon football. Stay with us.
The mind is not a vessel to be filled, but a fire to be kindled. There's a place where teaching and learning are transforming lives, where relationships drive deeper, more meaningful exploration and discovery based on mutual respect and trust, where you'll discover who you are and what you can achieve when you head out into the world to make it better. Life is more than a journey. It is a chance to transform.
First thing I do every morning when I get up is look out the window and see what the sky is doing. The neighbors kind of all know I'm into this, so I'll get calls or texts saying, oh, there's 2 eagles in the trees over here. I have a lot of relatives who live in other parts of the state, and they see them on TV, and it always kind of makes them feel like they're connected. Keep an eye on the sky and be ready. You never know what might show up.
You always do this. You had a couple of pops in you and got cocky. Who's up for a game of wing roulette, you said? Because you thought it'd be funny to watch one of your friends get stuck with the hot one. But your friends, they got teriyaki, then spicy garlic, and then Asian zing. And now you're looking at the last one and you're thinking, my God, what have I done?
Welcome back to the Dragons Live Signing Day special. Time now to change gears to football as they added nearly 60 new names to their 2018 roster today. Who better to tell us on what they mean to the future of Dragon football than head coach Steve Lockway himself. Coach, thank you for joining us today.
Absolutely. Pleasure to be here.
Pleasure is all mine. We need to talk about a lot of kids in a very short amount of time, but before we get into them, let's start with last year and how the year went, and just kind of recap the year to kind of set the stage for what we were looking for today.
Absolutely. I think heading into the season, obviously high expectations, as high as they've ever been. I think in our program, certainly a lot of talent, returning a lot of names that people recognized. And then unfortunately, we just were not able to get things to click, whether it be injuries, whether it be you know, getting into a rhythm, getting the ball spread around, playing good team ball on both sides. For whatever reason, we didn't get to click. Certainly fell short of expectations, and have definitely, you know, looked through those things and been addressing those in the off season. I think it's important as we move forward this year that we've gone back to the basics, back to what we did almost 5 years ago as far as our training in the off season, our developing these guys team-wise and getting to know each other again, from the bare foundational bones to, you know what, we've got to gel this team as a team. Each team is different. I think last year we maybe fell into the trap of, we thought inning 7 was over, we're going to the 8th inning, and not, hey, the season's entirely done, new team, new dynamics, new relationships we need to form and forge forward, moving forward for one common goal.
There's a lot of relationships that need to be created with a group this big. What were kind of some of the holes in that 2 deep that you really saw that this class needed to fill? Well,
definitely skill positions were a key for us. In particular, not just the offensive wide receivers, but in particular defensive backs. That's been kind of our Achilles heel as far as depth goes, was corners, safeties. We had to address the numbers there, and we had to really make sure that we have those guys, not just to play defensive snaps, but the special teams game as well. And I think last year our special teams were subpar. We need to be better, and to be able to be better, depth is a huge part of the special teams game.
60. It's the first time I've gotten to say that number on this show. We've had the 30, we've had the 40, and we kind of skipped right over 50 and went to almost 60 kids. Why such a big class is your biggest ever this year?
Well, well, it's a lot of different answers that kind of come with that. In particular, you look at the team, and I want to remove the excuse I think that we've had the last few years of we don't have enough depth. Okay, well, let's make sure, let's get that out of our program. If we can remove that, we can move forward. I think as time has gone on, what we've noticed, especially with Minnesota kids, they are taking more and more advantage of getting college credits taken in high school. So we have more and more kids coming in that are only going to be here for 4 years. They understand Division II is, they're not going to the NFL. They're here to get their degree and then move on with life. And I think our program does a really great job of having a philosophy that football is important, but so is using the game of football to develop you for the game of life. And so they want to be in and out in 4 years. So we're getting some great students that are ready to move on. I think our community, our program has really become attractive to people in the last few years. I think we've raised our image. I think our athletic department has moved forward. I think a lot of people are attracted to that. We're going to have a lot of these guys in this class that will play as true freshmen. So it looks like a big class, but it's going to get 15 of them into the class that we just had last year, and then we'll have this class. And I also know from experience that if you can have a senior group of 25 guys, you have a chance to compete to win a conference title. If you can win a conference title, you can win a national title. I know that from my playing days. There was 22 seniors in my class. The class below us and above us each were in the 20s, and that's why we were national semifinals. We were nationally relevant. And so to be able to do that, you have to have a big starting class. I don't think it's realistic, signing 28 guys to think we're going to end at 25. And so I think this class will be special because they'll grow together as a team, and I think they understand what we're doing as far as this group is expected to take the program to the next highest level that we can get to.
Well, let's get to know him a little bit.
Absolutely.
Let's start with the defensive side, and Mickey Brown, a defensive lineman. Let's talk about the big guys up front.
Mickey is a big guy up front. You can see 6'3", 325 pounds. Obviously, a special talent, is athletic enough to be on the outside. You can see in that first highlight. Great young man. Is tied in with so many of these guys in Chicago, and we signed a really good Chicago class this year, but Mickey is one of those guys that through social media, through connections, everybody seems to know him. He obviously was a guy that teams needed to prepare for and know about from this conference.
From Watford City High School, we got Jackson Fowler.
Yes, Jackson Fowler. Another big guy, 6'3", 265 pounds, a guy that's an all-state guy multiple times. He's a wrestler, he's in track, which we like, those multiple sport athletes. We saw him through the camp circuit, was physical, tough, could play on both sides of the ball. We like him in particular defensively.
Another guy who played 2 sports, lacrosse and wrestling, Jacob Fleming.
Yeah, Jacob Fleming, interesting story out of the Chicagoland area. Family in Fergus Falls, visited our campus 4 different times, believe it or not, from that kind of distance. What we like a lot about him, his motor maybe is the best motor, intense effort that we've seen on film of any of these, 60-some guys.
Another Illinois native, Joshua Krujasic.
Yeah, Josh has been a guy that we've had an offer on since way back this summer. Same high school as Evan Moore, so that certainly I think was helpful. He can play. He's a guy that, and we liked him after his junior film. We thought he got even better senior-wise. Came on the visit, really great fit for him. Super good academically. Just love the program, love the fit, and I think he's got a huge upside and future for us.
A lot of career sacks and career tackles for this guy, Christian List.
Yeah, when you look at the numbers, 110 career tackles, 16 sacks, 19 TFLs, and you see the production, but you can also see Christian's got a great motor. We love the intensity that he played with at our own summer camp, at the other camps. Great frame, great size, guy that is just a relentless competitor and loves the game of football.
It seems like we're getting a lot of D linemen from Illinois, but this name is familiar to our volleyball fans, Randy Petterbach.
Absolutely. Randy's the brother of Sarah, and so it was great to have an opportunity to get him on our campus. Believe it or not, he hadn't been to campus before, not with any of Sarah's trips or her games because of the way his schedule worked out, so it was fun to get him and his mom on campus to see things firsthand and then have him, choose us. I think he's got a huge upside. Obviously, really big frame. Again, a guy that reminds us a lot of Matt Domek, who's another player out of the same high school, and they're connected as families. And I think there's a really great chance for him to have a huge future for us.
From Boys Town High School down in Nebraska, Gerald Smith.
Gerald Smith, yeah, is one of those defensive ends that's tall and rangy. A guy that we feel can be an unbelievable pass rusher off the edge. We liked what he showed at camp. You can see off of his film, he's got a quick burst where he can get inside. He shows to be physical, but I think where he brings the biggest value on the football field is that athleticism to be able to pressure a quarterback. Quite a recruiting battle. Jared had over 10 offers on the table, and to have him say yes to us was certainly an exciting day for us.
Let's talk about Brad Stewart.
Brad Stewart, guy from up north of here, just a small town player that's got tremendous work ethic. We like his physical skills. Certainly a great match. His dad played for the Dragons, so it's good to have that kind of Dragon pride that, you know, spills over from families, and definitely you look at what he can do, not just on the field, but academically. We feel like just a great fit for our football program.
So that was your defensive lineman group for this class. Tell me about the group as a whole a little bit.
Well, fit the molds that we're looking for as far as guys that we think have big frames. They can grow and develop. They can be stout on the edge, but as they grow and develop in the weight room with Coach Anderson, they're going to put on weight, and we feel like they can transition inside without a problem. And so we got our interior D-line taken care of, and then we have a few pass rushers off the edge, exactly what we're looking for, and I think that has been the Achilles heel for us defensively, where we've been solid. We've played 10 guys more than 20 snaps per game. We had to have depth there. I thought we got the depth, and I think this is talented depth too.
Guys back and behind them, the linebackers. Let's start with Bo Driscoll, 6'2", 180 from Sherwood, North Dakota.
Yeah, Bo is a guy that we kind of fell in love with at camp. We like the way that he moved. You look at the things that he's a competitor. He's feisty. He's another multi-sport guy with basketball, with track. Huge upside. Obviously, small town school, small town football, but we've been successful with those guys, and we think he has the building blocks to follow in those same footsteps.
From Omaha, Nebraska, we've got Drew Dunham.
Yeah, Drew, definitely very good academically. Excited about getting him into the program. We love his athleticism. He's got top end speed. The guy can run from sideline to sideline, which is what you want out of a linebacker.
Local talent here, we've got Moorhead, Minnesota native James Eggert.
Absolutely, James is one of those guys that has just got leader kind of written all over him. Football captain, basketball captain. He's playing in track. He just seems like does everything. And he's the guy that makes the plays that maybe don't get noticed a lot, and offensively, defensively. Feel like he's got an intangible piece to him that really makes a football team go, and something that we need to build around is those intangible pieces, which I think we didn't quite have built strong enough last season.
From Mandan, North Dakota, Quinn Halstengard.
Quinn's another guy that was at camp this summer that, you know, we had a talented group of linebackers in at camp, and he seemed to come out of nowhere and really show that he could hang with those guys and he could be productive. We liked what we saw at that, and then you watch him play his senior year, so I think good upside for him coming in.
And from my home state of South Dakota out of Sioux Falls, Ben Skelhaas.
Yeah, sometimes it's, you know, you have to be patient. We were able to recruit his brother in the past. Didn't quite work out for us, but got to know the family. I think they got to know the program. Maybe gave us an early advantage on understanding the insides and out of what we're doing philosophically. He's again, testing numbers are unbelievable. This kid can run sideline to sideline and plays great football.
That is your group of linebackers. Tell us a little bit about the group as a whole and what they're going to add.
Again, looking at tough guys. Can they run around on special teams and play? Yes. Can they run sideline to sideline? Yes. And you know what? Are they the heart and soul of a defense with the intangible pieces? Yes. I think all three things we're looking for, we checked all three boxes.
Very good, very good. We've still got some more defense to go. Let's go to the defensive backs, something that we talked about emphasizing in earlier in the show, starting with Jordan Berg.
Definitely was huge for us, defensive backs. Jordan is a big-time recruit, big-time get for us. I mean, successful program, part of 3 state championship football teams. Not only is this kid great on defense, he's got, you know, 9 career interceptions, 70 tackles. He got 1,300 receiving yards, 21 touchdowns. This kid is a player. He's all sorts of athletic. He's one of those guys that we feel like is going to be able to come in and compete at this level, not just because of his athleticism, but his intensity, his ability to play in big games and show that, you know what, he can handle the pressure of the big stage.
Another two-way player on the football field, Jack DeWolf.
Yeah, tremendous season for these guys at Nevis last year. He stand out on both sides of the field. As a quarterback, you can see the numbers he put up. Defensively, roamed around back there with all sorts of athleticism, returning punts. Just a guy that we think has a huge upside. Again, another small town guy that's an all-around athlete that can really make things happen.
We have a Floridian on our charts today, Michael Franks.
Yeah, an interesting, kind of recruit for us, a little bit out of our area, but was drawn to this area of the country a little bit by the success that North Dakota State's had across the river. Obviously, we've got connections there. And so to be able to kind of get wind of him, of his interest, and he wanted to get out of Florida, wanted to get to an area like this, and we think he's a guy that's really talented. He's played against great competition. We think he's got a great chance to come in and be able to compete for us.
Lot of total yards offensively, but defensive back Alec Goffard.
Alec is a guy that, you watch the film of him playing offensively and you look at what he does running around, you can see his athleticism. When we look to translate what we need out of a free safety, you want to have the athleticism that he has. You look at the size that he has, and this guy can play, he can cover ground. It's going to be, a little bit for him to kind of learn, because I think, when you're a quarterback, that's your primary focus, so it takes you a little bit while to learn, but we feel like this is a fabulous recruit for us and a name that a lot of people are going to recognize by the time he's done.
Let's talk a little about Larry Graham.
Larry, another guy that we saw at camp, tremendous top-end speed. You can see that, he's worked his craft, but I think his best football days are in front of him. I think he's got great building blocks. I think Coach Anderson's really going to develop him into something in the weight room, and then I think Coach Blackmore doing a great job with him at deep defensive back.
From Central High School in Aberdeen, South Dakota, Colin Haar.
Colin, just a tough guy, a tough wrestler, really good. He's a competitor, fits the toughness that we're looking for, and we don't shy away from that in recruiting. We talk to our players about this is tough to be a college football player. It's a grind of work, and he looked and he smiled when he knew that, and he embraced it because that was him and that was in his blood. And you know what? I think when you have those type of guys in your program, you see them do special things.
From Cromwell, Minnesota, Nick Johnson.
Nick Johnson's been a guy that we've been excited about for a long time. Came to our camp, kind of lit it up, caught everybody's eyes. Then you watch his senior season, had a tremendous senior season, making plays. He's fast, he's athletic. He helped his team be successful. This guy's a good match for what we're looking for in the defensive secondary, and he's a tough kid.
Junior Kai.
Junior's another guy out of the cities that we feel like moves our program forward. He ups our level of talent. He's a competitive player. He can defend people in space. He can take away the deep ball, and those are the things we need out of our cover down corners.
Dion McMahon.
Dion McMahon, another defensive back that we like. He can roam back there. He's rangy, can take away a lot of the field coverage-wise, but he is tough, physical, fast and aggressive, coming up and being able to tackle guys in the run game, which is something that we need out of the safeties. He's got a unique blend between the two. Certainly looking forward to getting him here on campus, and I think he's going to flourish in the system that we have.
One of the taller guys in this group, it's 6 feet tall. From Flossmoor, Illinois, Jamari Ratliff Jr.
Yeah, you mention his size, just height-wise, and you start thinking about the corner position. And, last year we've got Damon Gibson, who's 6'4", and you see some of the better receivers in our league have that height. So to be able to have a corner that we can match up with those players, height-wise, for sure, definitely he's got the athletic skill, change of direction, and top-end speed to do it. So really good football player in here, another guy that we feel like is going to compete and be able to be one of those guys that contributes to our success on the field next year.
Another Illinois native, Solomon Sangobwale. That's going to be fun to say this year.
Absolutely. Get the PA announcer ready for that one. Solomon, a guy that we like. He's a scrapper. He's tough. He's got great technique. For a kid coming out of high school, we really feel like he's been well developed. You see his plays, not just in coverage, but he's a tough guy. He's, to find corners that are willing to come up and make tackles and be physical is rare, and we feel like he brings that to the table. He's a guy that, just a great young man that's a good match for us and is going to do a great job on special teams as well.
All right, Coach, talk about DeMarcus Singletary.
Yeah, DeMarcus Singletary, a player that we really like in the defensive secondary, like the way that he covers. He's a tall athlete, really long arms, great defensive skills as far as defend the pass, but we like that he's really willing and aggressive to come downhill and make plays in the run game and really fit up people physically.
We see more in this as the recruiting years go by. Another South Dakotan, Riley Schultz.
Yeah, South Dakota is a place that we've tried to extend our influence into. Certainly Riley kind of falls in the category again of, you know what, recruited his brother, things didn't work out, family-wise, knew about us, he knew about us, he's been on campus enough, got a great chance, we loved him at camp. Again, you look at his size, he's a 6-footer that is rangy back there that we think is going to develop into a good player on the back end for us.
From St. Louis, Missouri, 5'9", 180, Jared Taylor.
Yeah, Jared's a guy that, you know, a little bit outside of the recruiting area, but fit in to what we were looking for. Was definitely impressed with the Fargo-Moorhead area, a place that he'd never been, and that was a key piece to this. You look at what he did things special teams-wise. He's a guy that comes downhill, and he'll be able to hit you and be physical in the run game.
From Brooklyn Center, Minnesota, Blake Wilkins.
Blake, another guy, you know, you're starting to hear the importance of camp. It was at camp this summer. Wowed us with his movement skills. Great young man. I mean, working different jobs while he's in high school, putting himself in position to not just excel on the field, but in the classroom and get himself in position where he's, you know what, going to be a college football player. I think great success story of a great young man with a lot of heart.
The group of defensive backs as a whole is probably the biggest position that you recruited this year. Why, and tell me about this group and how they filled that need.
Well, we felt like that's an area we've been short of depth defensively, not just on guys that go play the defensive snaps, but special teams wise. So it was our targeted area. Certainly was the biggest one. I think it filled it just like we wanted, but I think it filled it with maybe as much talent as we've ever had here. And then you put this whole big group together. We feel like we've taken our talent and almost like double down in the middle and hit the jackpot. And so I think this will be a key piece. How fast can we develop this group? Because if we can get them game ready, it's a game changer for our program from last year to this year.
To round out the defense for the Dragons this year, let's look at the walk-ons.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of guys that want to be a part of our program that, you know what, are going to come in and they're going to scratch and claw and they're going to give us the things that we want moving forward in our program. Gabe, right out of Fargo North, one of those guys that's gritty. Nick in the same boat, and Jared's just from down the road here in Kindred, guy that we saw at camp. Garrett's been a guy that's been to our campus throughout the summer multiple times. And then Zach coming out of the cities. The cities was a place that was a point of emphasis for us. And I think when we get more and more cities kids to our program, they realize the great community Fargo-Moorhead is.
Don't go anywhere, Coach. We recapped last season, but one thing that we didn't mention from last year was all the fun being had at the Dragonfire End Zone Extravaganza on opening day and homecoming this year. A field-level beer garden with kicks whizzing over your head while you cheer dilly-dilly. A great time that deserves an extra look. After starting the regular season with the convincing 38-7 victory over Augustana, Dragon Football opened their season at home on Thursday, September 7th at 7 p.m. The opening day game was originally slated for Saturday, but a new deal between the Northern Sun Conference and Midcoast Sports Network started Thursday night football across the league. On TV, got it. Now let's get the fans in. Our own Dragonfire Booster Club organized a large-scale party to help, and the End Zone Extravaganza was born. A field-level area on the north end zone directly behind the goalpost where field goals whizzed over your head. Long games on the side, food trucks all around, and a brick house beer garden. The result? In all honesty, the biggest crowd I've ever seen at Nemzik Stadium. The only thing that wasn't an absolute blast was the scoreboard at the end of the night, as the Dragons made a try for a comeback in the second half, but their efforts fell short, falling to Southwest Minnesota State 35-51. Scoreboard ignored, the night was a big win by Dragon fans. They showed up, almost 3,000 of them. They stood up and they shouted their Dragon pride all night long. Stay with us here on Dragons Live Signing Day special. When we come back, we've got the offense to talk about yet. Stay tuned right here. You don't want to miss it.
Prosperity is today's investment in tomorrow's promise. The promise of a better way of life. With every act of kindness, every act of creation, and with every act of love, we strengthen our community. And when we stand together as a community, we accomplish the impossible. We can choose to pass through life, or we can choose to pass on a better way of life.
Dragon Swim School is proud to offer year-round swimming and diving lessons with the lowest student-to-instructor ratio around. Lessons are available for all levels, including parent-child sessions and preschool. Help your child learn to love the water in a safe and caring environment with us at Dragon Swim School. Visit msumdragons.com/swim for more information. That's msumdragons.com/swim.
New from the MSUM Dragons is the Fired Up Fan Zone Rewards app. Check in, earn points, and get prizes. Search MSUM in your app store to download it now, and you can join the game day fun with the Fan Cam. Check your ranking on the leaderboard and use your points to buy exclusive prizes for our Fired Up fans only. Get the Fired Up Fan Zone Rewards app powered by Valley Imports, available now in the App Store and Google Play. Get fired up for the new Shop MSUMDragons.com, the official online store of Dragon Athletics, featuring top brands like Under Armour, Adidas, Columbia, and more. Get gear in women's, youth, toddler, and infant sizes, perfect for all of our Dragon fans. Support your favorite Dragon team with Select a Logo. Anything custom ships in 72 hours. And take your tailgating to the next level with items like bleacher chairs, tailgate tents, and lawn chairs. Get the gear and support your team with profits going directly to Dragon Athletics from Shop MSUMDragons.com. All right, Coach, let's talk a little bit about the offensive side of the football. What were you looking for in this class offensively?
Biggest need area for us was offensive skill positions, in particular wide receiver. Last year we didn't sign very many guys. We knew that because we addressed other needs, which put us with a little bit of a hole this year, so we're filling the gaps. I think we did a great job with it.
Well, let's start with the guys protecting those gaps and creating those gaps. Troy Casperson from Plymouth, Minnesota.
Troy, a guy that was here this summer that we really liked at our camp. Again, a big frame. If you look at what it takes to be successful, you got to win in the trenches, especially with your offensive line. Great student, great match for our community and campus, great match for our football program.
And I love to see the rare sport on here as a multi-sport athlete, the golfer, Matthew Hines.
Well, we like golf. He's a multi-sport guy, golf, basketball, football, small-town guy, big frame, loves this program, loves what we stand for. I think he's got a huge upside. Again, one of those small-town guys that we think has the building blocks. I think we've done a phenomenal job of identifying what those building blocks are, and then once they come to campus, developing them into really good football players.
From Watertown, South Dakota, Jack Hoffman.
Yeah, another big-sized player, guy that was at our football camp, that we saw some raw ability. We saw a lot of things that he can do, and he brings a lot to the table. I think our offensive line coaches are going to love having him here.
At 6'4", 230, Washburn, North Dakotan, Daniel Olson.
Yeah, Daniel, another guy that fits that mold of big frame. He's long levered, he's athletic. We like the way that he can run. He plays really great. Defensive football, offensive football, same boat. A track guy, a basketball guy. Once he focuses on one side of the ball, one sport, I think he's got a huge ceiling of potential.
Talking about a big guy up front at 6'4", 290 from Battle Lake High School, Dustin Olson.
Yeah, Dustin's another big offensive lineman for us, a guy that we've been working on recruiting for over 2 years right now. It seems like forever, but he was here as a junior, he was here as a senior. Finally, we're going to be able to get him in a Dragon uniform and see what he can do on our football field.
From Wishack, North Dakota, Alexander Ruff.
Alex is another guy that we saw at camp. Again, big frame, great student. He's smart. He's going to pick everything up within the college offense, even though he's playing in a small school. He's physical, he's athletic, and what's interesting, he's got really great feet for a big guy.
Likes to put people on their backside, it looks like. 6'5", 220 from Brooklyn Park, Keenan Chisel.
Keenan's another guy, kind of common theme here, but we had great summer of camps. He was at camp. We saw him. We saw the potential that he brings to the table. I think he's a guy that understands what it's going to take for him to make it to the next level and get to there. He's got the building blocks, and all we got to do is make sure we can put those together.
As a group, this offensive lineman, you see the 220s to near 300-pound guys up front. Talk about this group as a whole and what they're going to add.
Well, as a whole, fits the mold just size-wise. Whether they have the weight, that part doesn't matter, but they've got, you know, the height, they've got the frame, and more importantly, they've got the want and desire to be an offensive lineman. That's a group that you have to have some humility in. There's not a lot of spotlight that gets shined on you, but you got to be willing to take your lunch pail, hard hat, and go to work every single day, and this group does.
A couple of the guys that they're protecting, the fullbacks and running backs. Let's start with Billy Brown from Rice Lake, Wisconsin.
Yeah, Billy, nice get for us. Coming off a state championship season, I think that maybe shocked some people. Their team was able to do that. Nimble-footed, physical guy, plays on both sides of the ball, and that's what you want out of your fullback, a guy that's willing to have contact and be able to move people out of the way so we can get yards gained.
Stanley Boyd High School's Theo Chwala.
Theo, a guy that's been committed since this summer, so exciting to finally get to this signing day where we can get that name out there, we can talk about it. When it's been so long, you're waiting, and I think it's a day that he's certainly been waiting for. I think great guy that's going to develop into a fullback for us.
From Pequot Lakes, Minnesota, Calvin Maskey.
Calvin's another guy that we really liked this summer and how he competed. He's got nimble feet for a big guy, 235 pounds, to see what he can do with his feet. He brings an intensity to the game. He brings a physicality to it. He plays on both sides of the football. I think he's got a huge upside for us.
From New London, Wisconsin, Zane Rodensill.
Zane's a guy that, as you go through and you start looking at running backs that fit our mold of getting downhill, being able to be physical between the tackles, lower their shoulder pads, get extra yards, and then make the quick cut as needed. He's a guy that does it. He's a competitive runner, multi-sport guy, but he's going to get his pads down, and he's going to make sure when the ball's in his hand, he's going to get positive yards.
And we talked about adding some of these skill positions with fullbacks and running backs. What does this group say for this recruiting class?
Well, I think that group right there says toughness. Those guys they get after it, they're physical, and when the ball's in their hand or when we need to run the ball to get yards, they're going to get it done.
More skill positions, tight ends and wide receivers, as we identified earlier, starting with Jake Belangi.
Jake's a guy that, you know what, we love his lateral speed. We love the way he can quick change direction. He's a tough player, tough as a running back, got a lot of reps at running back where he shows that he can run the ball in between the tackles. We got a chance to use him out in space and take advantage of that speed that you can see right there on that first highlight.
Another Wisconsin native from Milwaukee, Ryan Harvey Turner.
Yeah, Ryan from the same high school as Jacob Sinani. So certainly some good connections there. I think Jacob was excited to get that target that he had in high school back to use in college. Ryan's got a great upside, a lot of raw potential. He's got speed, he's got natural ability, long length, a guy that can really get up and make a play on a deep ball, but can make guys miss, just like you see on this first highlight, and get to the end zone.
Tight end here from Alexandria, Tyson Helsher.
Tyson's a guy that just shows so many different abilities, whether it's a defensive lineman, playing some tight end, he played some running back this year, guy that ended up returning some kickoffs, but a physical presence that when you put him in the backfield, he's going to bring a new dimension to our offense because he can move around, he can end up as a fullback, he can end up as a tight end. You can see off of this highlight here, in the snow, he's a running back, and he's able to get tough physical yards and then really kind of get himself up to the secondary. He's got great speed.
Out west in Dickinson, North Dakota, Connor Hinkey.
Connor, a guy, again, that we feel like fits the mold of our slots that have been successful here. We really like the fact that he's great in the return game as far as special teams go. We really like that. Again, a multi-sport guy. Saw him with our own eyes at camp. We're super impressed this summer. And again, there's a recipe and a mold that we found to be successful, and he fits it.
Another South Dakotan from Aberdeen Central, Landon Lundquist.
Yeah, Landon's got a lot of top-end speed. That's the thing I think that's going to be scary for defenses when they see this guy line up, that they've got to give him cushion. They've got to respect the speed that he can stretch the field with vertically.
From Glenburn, North Dakota, Trent Marquardt.
Trent played his football on the same field that Hunter Broughton did. Same position here. Spent his senior year as a quarterback, just like Hunter Broughton did. This is a guy that obviously has a lot of similarities to Hunter Broughton. Obviously, Hunter had a great career here. Trent's his own guy. He's got his own sets of skills. But you know what? He's got a great chance to walk that path that Hunter's blazed, and I think have a really good career for us.
From Grand Forks, Zane Miller.
Zane, just, again, a guy that can press the field vertically. He's got top end speed like you wouldn't believe. And then we see him at camp, and he shows that he can be lightning in a bottle, a jitterbug that can make plays and then catch the ball short, not get caught, break tackles, get away from people, and turn a 5-yard pass into 55. Really like what he brings to the table.
From Tomahawk, Wisconsin, 5'10", Easton Phelan.
Tomahawk, home of Coach Kevin Murphy, so certainly we got another hatchet in the program, which he's excited about. We liked him again at camp. He's got a lot of multifaceted pieces. You see him playing quarterback. He's a tough physical runner. He played on defense where you like him moving around back in the secondary. We've been successful converting those quarterbacks from smaller schools into wide receivers. Same recipe. Hopefully we get the same results.
Interesting. From Watford City, North Dakota, 6'5", 190, Brett Scarta.
Yeah, you look at the size that he brings to the table. Certainly that raises an eyebrow, but if you could see how fast this kid can run, he has got top end speed. So now you're stretching the field vertically, and you've got to defend a guy that's 6'5" that we think has tremendous ball skills. If we can just get the ball thrown up there, I think he's a guy that figures out how does he come down with it and make a play.
From Roseville Area High School, Victor Yang.
Victor's a guy that we saw on our summer camp tours, making plays. Great hands, soft hands, jitterbug, able to get away from guys, win one-on-one battles. And as you start looking more and more at the game of football and the spread offenses, if you can win one-on-one battles in space, you can be successful. This kid can do that.
And we've got a group of guys trying to win those one-on-one battles and give you a little bit of beef up at the tight end position, some height, some size. What does this entire group kind of say about this position for your program?
Well, I think it fits what we want to do offensively. We want to play a lot of snaps. We want to play fast. We want to be able to make plays in space. And then when we need to, we got to get physical yardage. And I think these guys are that unique blend between pushing it for the home run, deep and vertical, short passes, quick, make the move, and then physical between the tackles. So again, I think what we're looking for, we found. I think this group will be exciting to watch in the future.
And we have one quarterback we are signing here today, Justin Colzo.
Justin, again, a guy that we were able to see at camps throughout the summer. You look at what you want out of your quarterback position. You want a guy who's high character. You want a guy who can lead people, who gets along with people, and you want a guy who's intelligent. This kid's super intelligent, a guy, you know, he's getting academic scholarships from our school, certainly brings what we want to the program. I think he's got a great future in front of him. Obviously, he can take the ball and spin it and get it to the guys that we want him to get it to, and he can think quickly on the run, which you need to do within our offense of playing the RPO game.
And some more specialty positions, starting with punter Blake Oschendorf.
Yeah, Blake, you know, huge upside. You look at his size, 6'6", long levered punter. We addressed special teams really hard this year. We knew that we need to take him to the next level to get a punter that's just a punter into our program. I think is a huge step for us. I think we got a great one.
2 kickers added to the roster, starting with Andy Peterson.
Yeah, Andy's a guy that came to our summer camp, super impressed with, was able to make the kicks from all the different areas of the field. Serviceable punter if we needed him. And he's been committed since the summer. It's exciting to finally make that announcement. If you think back to maybe one of the best all-around comeback plays ever in the history of Minnesota football, whatever they came back from 3 scores in 50-some seconds, he was responsible for 2 of the onside kicks. Just hopefully that a weapon, we can use that magic again in the future if we need it.
And from LeSueur, Minnesota, Matthew Plezai.
Yeah, really like Matt. He loves the campus, he loves the program. He was at our camp this summer. He's a guy that's a multi-sport guy between soccer and between football. He has got a leg on him. We could back this guy up and he could make big time kicks from a long distance.
That's the offense. That's all the recruits for signing day today. How do you think your coaches did bringing in the next crop of our Dragon football family?
I think fabulous job. A lot of work. This is a process that takes over a year. I think we did a great job getting guys to campus. I think our campus has done a phenomenal job of hosting players. I think between our campus and our community, people are wowed when they come here, and they're wowed by the time they leave. And it's hard for them to say no to our program. And so, like anything, it's a group effort, and I think we got a group effort of everybody involved with Dragon Athletics and MSUM and Fargo-Moorhead.
I hate to say it, but is it a sigh of relief now that this is all done and you can kind of get to work on plugging these guys in and talking about them and seeing how they're going to translate and just kind of take, let's go, let's get ready for the next season?
It does give you a chance to hear for a couple days at least, take a big sigh, step back, enjoy the fact that we put in a lot of good work. We got the results we wanted. Now we need to flip the page, and we need to get ready for next season and get this team right to be able to get back to where we should be.
A couple things before we let you go. First, let's take a look at this group as a whole, where they're from, and our heat map. When you take a look at all of these recruits and where they're from, what does it say to you?
Well, it says that we're fitting into the general mold that we've laid out. A 300-mile radius. Chicago's been an area that's been really good for us. You can see this year it was again. And we said that we were going to extend down I-29 and get ourselves into the Nebraska area this year. I think 6 guys coming out of here early was a good piece for us.
Now, as you mentioned, flipping the page to next season, the 2018 football schedule, what stands out to you?
Well, a little bit different this year that we're not playing the South games early. We're playing them in the middle of the schedule. I think that's awesome. Again, Thursday night, home opener, which we've been good on. Hopefully we can continue that. Against Crookston, got a homecoming game against Mankato, which certainly I think will capture a lot of eyes. And then, on the road, we've got a game against Bemidji at the end of the season. Got to be able to get the Axe back, so certainly those are a few of the games that we're going to have circled on our calendar.
And if you want to see this schedule, be sure to go to MSUMDragons.com and click on football. You'll see the full schedule. Coach, thank you so much for joining us here today on the Signing Day Special. We appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Before we let you go here on the Dragons Live Signing Day Special, let's get to some of our upcoming events. First, we are hosting the NSIC Swimming and Diving Championships on the 14th through the 17th at the brand new Hobart Aquatic Center. Cannot miss that event. That is going to be a great time out there. Our first time hosting the conference meet. There's also home tennis this weekend against Concordia Moorhead, St. Cloud State, and Duluth. So you can watch that on the Dragons app or on MSUMDragons.com. Wrestling also at home against Southwest Minnesota State on the 10th at 3 p.m. On shopMSUMDragons.com, we have a special signing day sale right now and get 20% off the entire store for our newest Dragons and their families to help them get their first Dragons gear. That is today only, a signing day sale, 20% off the entire store. You can also today and after today get 15% off gifts, foods, and accessories through February 12th. One last thing before we let you go here on the Dragons Live Signing Day Special. Next year will officially be the 100th year for Dragons football and the 50th year for Dragons volleyball. There will be a lot of events and festivities associated with those anniversaries, so stay tuned to MSUMDragons.com for updates with those two momentous events. Thanks for joining us today on our Signing Day Special. Hope you enjoyed the show, and a fired up welcome to all of our newest Dragons and their families and fans. For our director Alex Nelson, assistant Brent Keel, Alexis Kennedy, and myself, thank you for watching Dragons Live. We're going to leave you with some highlights of Dragons soccer and football, and of course, go Dragons.
All right, so we're going to start with the first 45. Minutes strong, push, be aggressive. It is the absolutely perfect day for soccer, getting off it. Here we go. Play hard, play smart, play together on 3. 1, 2, 3.